IKEA, the world-famous furniture brand that sells more than 200 million bookcases, cannot be used as a baby name in Sweden because the government officially banned it. So how did a furniture store end up on a national list of forbidden names? Learn English with facts and fun. Listening, shadowing, main points on screen, and review at the end. In Sweden, giving a name to a baby is not always a private decision. Parents must send the name to a government office, and the name must receive approval. Without that approval, the child cannot be officially registered. This rule comes from a law called the Swedish naming law. The law says a name must not cause problems for the child, and it must not be offensive or clearly unsuitable. Many countries allow almost any name. Sweden chose a different path because unusual names once created serious problems. But the story behind this law begins long before IKEA was ever on the list. During the 20th century, Swedish officials noticed something unusual. Some parents started choosing names that looked more like jokes than real names. A few names were numbers. Others were long strings of letters. Some looked like brand names or strange titles. Officials believed these names could harm a child later in life. School forms, job applications, and legal documents could all become difficult. The government decided to step in. In 1982, Sweden introduced a law that required parents to submit their child's name to the tax agency, which also handles population records. After a baby is born, parents have 3 months to send the name for approval. The agency then reviews the name and decides if it follows the rules. Most names pass without any problem. Traditional names, modern names, and many foreign names are accepted. But some names are rejected, and that is where the story becomes much more unusual. One of the most famous cases happened in the 1990s. A couple in Sweden strongly disagreed with the naming law. They believed the government should not control something as personal as a child's name. Instead of arguing in court, they chose a strange form of protest. For several years, they refused to register their child's name. Eventually, authorities told them they had to submit a name and pay a fine for waiting so long. The parents finally responded, but what they sent shocked everyone. They proposed the name BRFXXCCXMNPCCCCLLMMNPRXVCLMNCKSSQLBB 11,116. The name looked like a keyboard accident. It contained dozens of letters and even numbers. According to the parents, the name was supposed to be pronounced Albin. The tax agency rejected it immediately. Officials explained that the name clearly violated the law because it could cause confusion and serious problems for the child. The case quickly spread through newspapers and television. Suddenly, many people around the world learned that Sweden had strict naming rules, but strange names did not stop appearing. Another parent tried to name a child after the internet symbol @ The suggested name was simply A. The government refused that request as well. And then another unusual proposal arrived. A group of parents wanted to name their child IKEA. At first, the name might not sound very strange. After all, many people around the world know IKEA as a normal word. But in Sweden, IKEA is not just a word. It is one of the most famous companies in the country. The company was founded in 1943 by Ingvar Kamprad when he was only 17 years old. From a small business in rural Sweden, IKEA slowly grew into a global brand with hundreds of stores. Today, millions of people visit IKEA stores each year. The brand is part of daily life in Sweden. Because of that, officials believed the name could create confusion. The tax agency decided that IKEA should not be used as a personal name. The reason was simple. A strong brand name might place unwanted attention on a child. Imagine a child introducing himself at school. "Hello, my name is IKEA." Teachers and students might laugh or think it is a joke. Later in life, job interviews could become awkward. Some people might not take the name seriously. For this reason, the government placed IKEA on a list of banned names. But IKEA is not the only name on that list. Sweden has rejected many unusual suggestions over the years. Some parents tried to use titles instead of names. One example was King. Others suggested names that sounded like insults or rude words. These were also rejected. The law does not try to control culture or creativity. Officials say the goal is protection. A name stays with a person for life. Children do not choose their own names. Adults choose for them. Because of that, the government believes there should be limits. Still, not everyone agrees with this idea. Some critics say parents should have full freedom. They argue that families understand their culture and their child better than the government does. Supporters of the law see it differently. They believe the rules prevent extreme choices that could harm a child's future. In practice, the system is not as strict as many people imagine. Thousands of different names are accepted every year. Foreign names, creative spellings, and modern names often pass the review. Only a small number are rejected. And even then, parents usually have a chance to choose another name. But sometimes the rejected names become famous. News stories about unusual names travel quickly across the internet. People laugh, debate, and argue about what counts as a good name. The IKEA example became one of the most talked about cases. It also raised an interesting question. Should a company name ever become a person's name? In some places, the answer is yes. Around the world, children have been named after brands, cities, and even technology companies. Some parents choose these names because they sound modern. Others simply like the way the word sounds. Sweden, however, prefers caution. The government believes a name should clearly function as a personal identity, not a brand or symbol. Because of that idea, the name IKEA remains banned. Still, the story reveals something deeper about names. A name is more than a word on paper. It shapes first impressions. It appears on every school form, passport, and job application. In many ways, a name becomes part of a person's life story. That is why countries handle naming in different ways. Some allow complete freedom. Others set rules to prevent extreme choices. Sweden stands somewhere in the middle. Parents have wide freedom, but the government keeps a final check. And sometimes, that check leads to unusual headlines. A child can grow up surrounded by IKEA furniture. But in Sweden, that child will never officially be named IKEA. And that small rule continues to spark debate about freedom, identity, and the quiet power of a name. In the end, the story of the band name is not really about furniture. It is about how a simple word can shape a person's future. Let's quickly go over everything at the end. Banned, to officially say that something is not allowed. My parents have banned video games during the week. End up, to finally be in a particular place or situation. If you don't study, you might end up with a bad grade. Receive approval, to get official permission for something. Our building plan has to receive approval from the city. Unsuitable, not right or appropriate for a particular purpose or situation. Those shoes are unsuitable for hiking in the mountains. Brand names, the names of products made by a particular company. Some people only want to wear clothes with famous brand names. Step in, to become involved in a difficult situation to help. When the children started arguing, their mother had to step in. Reject, to refuse to accept or agree with something. The editor rejected my story, but I will write another one. Spread through, to move and affect a larger area or more people. The good news quickly spread through the entire school. Request, the act of politely or officially asking for something. I made a request for a window seat on the airplane. After all, used to add information that shows something is true. He should know the answer. After all, he is the teacher. Grow into, to develop from something small into something larger or better. The small family business grew into a very large company. Unwanted attention, notice from others that you do not want. The celebrity tried to avoid the unwanted attention from photographers. Awkward, making you feel embarrassed or uncomfortable. There was an awkward silence when he asked about her age. Take. Seriously, to believe that someone or something is important. You should take his advice seriously because he has a lot of experience. Prevent, to stop something from happening or someone from doing something. Wearing a coat will help prevent you from getting cold. Spark debate, to cause a discussion between people with different opinions. The new movie is expected to spark debate among the audience. If you enjoy stories like this, stories where real rules, strange events, and surprising facts reveal something deeper about human life, consider following this channel. Here, we explore true stories, curious laws, real crime cases, and remarkable moments from history, science, and everyday life, while helping you strengthen and master your English through clear storytelling. Another surprising story is already waiting.